Get your ears wrapped around the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast. All the scoop you need to know, from college basketball to the NBA and even March Madness. News of your rising stars, topics on and off the hardwood. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jeff Malinoff. In with me is Mark Souza, the 10-year elder Mark Souza, that is.
What?
You're 33, right?
Yeah.
I'm 23, so you're 10 years my elder.
10 years your elder.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But you said the 10-year elder.
I said 10 years my elder.
Okay.
Oldie.
The second time you said.
Grandpa.
Anyways, want to hear a dad joke? How does a penguin build its house?
How?
It glues it together. Haha, get it? Igloo. Anyways, let's talk some basketball.
You know why the chicken crossed the road?
Come on, man. You don't have a real joke here.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
Why,
To
Jeff?
shut you up.
See,
Anyways,
you don't have a real joke.
That's funny.
No one laughed.
Sure.
All right. Let's talk some basketball here. Of course, there was some action here in the last few days, including last night, a big slate of NBA games. But I want to talk about the New York Knicks. We'll talk about LeBron, Wade. We'll talk about the Ariza rumors. We'll talk about what's going on in Chicago with this Bulls drama. And, of course, the last segment, we've got news and notes across the NBA and also in NCAA basketball action. So, first and foremost, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, they met last night in what appears to be the last time they will play on the same basketball court together, at least in the NBA. Who knows what the future holds for these two fine fellas, but some interesting comments. Now, you were telling me about them, they envision maybe playing for the Knicks and the Lakers to end their career or something like that?
Well, LeBron told Wade after the game, he was like, I thought our spot's going to be in either Staples Center or the Garden. So, a.k.a. Madison Square Garden and the New York Knicks, because there's no other team that play there. So, it had to be the Knicks. Which makes sense, all things considered, because of the fact that he wanted to go to a bigger market, obviously. And he's doing the whole Space Jam 2 official. Is that officially being shot? Or is that, confirmed? I thought it was confirmed.
Yeah, and LeBron's starring.
So it was either and what about the two areas to do that than New York City or L.A. So it's one of those things where it made sense. It was going to be one of those two high profitable areas. So it only makes sense.
Yeah, so the Knicks, if you're a fan of the Knicks, you're probably like, man, we almost had LeBron and Wade at one point. Maybe they would have won championships here and not in Miami. But we need to talk about the New York Knicks. We got to talk about the New York Knicks for a simple reason, and that reason is when people sit around, when basketball fans sit around and they discuss with their friends, with other fans, whether it's online, whether it's in person, wherever, around the campfire, it doesn't matter. We always just passively say that New York is a free agent destination, that we expect all the top names every year to be possibly heading up to New York, in addition to places like Los Angeles, Miami, the heavy hitter, quote unquote,
the money
free
makers,
agent
the money makers.
Yes, the cities where people want to live, where the nightlife is good, where usually near a coast, things like that. But I think sometimes that gets overstated. I think sometimes that we just say these things without actively thinking about them. And it got me to thinking the other day, because some people think that the Knicks are going to land Kawhi or Durant. A lot of people are saying Durant is the likelier one to go to New York and play for the Knicks after this season. So I was thinking, yeah, I could see it happening, because it's a big city. It's a chance for someone to go on play in the Eastern Conference where it's a little bit easier. You're in the biggest city. You're playing for a storied franchise, at least a storied arena, the Madison Square Garden. Now, I will say, just right off the bat, Jeff, do you consider, in your opinion, New York to be a top free agent destination? Like, if you were a player in the league, would you think that, like, okay, I could live here, I could live here, I could live here, or I could play for this franchise? Would the Knicks be high on your list?
How about the team and the organization itself, it doesn't feel like that's the case anymore. It feels like more the fact that this team is just so dysfunctional that it's not worth it.
Do you value the franchise and the direction more than you do about the location and the visibility, like in terms of like endorsement deals? If you play for a team in New York, you're going to be sought after for more endorsement type deals than you are if you were let's say like Milwaukee or New Orleans or something like that. So what's on the forefront if you're an NBA star? Let's say you're an NBA star.
Thank you. I like it.
Let's just put you in that mold. And a team like Milwaukee came calling and the Knicks came calling. In their current situations, remember, you're a young NBA star. You're not LeBron, but you're looking to be maybe the face of the NBA in the next couple of years. Which franchise would you consider going to between those two teams, Milwaukee and the Knicks, as they are currently presented?
Okay, here's how I see it: championship equals endorsements. No,
sometimes
if you win a championship, you're going to get more looked at, and. Is this a long-term deal I'm looking at?
Yeah, you're looking for a max contract. Okay. You're getting the same amount of money in New York or Milwaukee. You're a free agent. They're both offering you the max deal.
Okay.
Same. Can't be any higher or lower.
If I'm looking at my future, I'm looking for championships. Because championship leads to more money, which leads to more endorsements, which leads to more national televised games. Give me Milwaukee.
Okay.
Because I just don't see a winning franchise in the Knicks. And if the Knicks were winning, all about it. Because winning leads to more endorsements. Winning leads to more nationally televised games. Winning equals money in the NBA. We can both agree on that, right?
Is Milwaukee more nationally televised than the Knicks? I honestly
They're getting
don't know.
More and more televised games.
Yeah, I get it.
They're getting
one
more
of
and
the
more
best teams.
They're getting more and more notice. They're getting more and more just advertisements. When you look at games that are being advertised, you see a lot of Milwaukee games instead of a lot of New York games. So,
well, you do see. I see the Knicks. The Knicks are on TV a lot. They are. They're a big market. Like they even when they suck, they are a draw, right?
Granted, but when you're looking at a viewership, when you're looking at eyes on the product, when they look at Knicks game, they go, "Oh, it's just the Knicks." When they look at Milwaukee, they go, "Oh, that's going to be a good game because that's the best team."
Sheer volume. A lot of people care about New York more than Milwaukee. Like it's just. I get what you're saying. The casual. If you're just a fan of basketball, you're like, "Oh, I'd rather watch the Bucks play." I get that, but. In terms of eyeballs, the whole city and state of New York, rather than
and also their attendance is down too, which hurts endorsement deals. And Milwaukee is packed house almost every night now. And
the problem is that
I know it's
NBA
Milwaukee.
Players don't go to Milwaukee.
I know it's Milwaukee. I know it's not a big area, but I think it's getting bigger. I think because of the success of Giannis and the team of Milwaukee, that is going to get more eyes on the product in Milwaukee, which I'm thinking if I'm doing a max contract in my next 3 years, they're going to be looked at more and more and more if we keep winning.
Here's my argument against that. I don't know if Milwaukee will attract more players, even though they're good. And the reason why I say that is even when the Spurs have been really good for the last 15, 20 years, they haven't really attracted a big name. I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge was the one. He's a relatively decent.
Can I rebuttal that?
Go ahead.
They didn't need anybody else.
Right, but I'm saying that it wasn't like players were lining up to be like, man, I want to join the Spurs. Like, because
they love Popovich. Like, there was some talk there. But it was one of those things where the Spurs also didn't go after guys.
It's like San Antonio, though. Like, it's San Antonio. People don't.
I understand San Antonio. Like, I lived there for a little bit. And the thing is, it's not about the city. It was more about, like, Popovich and the Spurs not really being aggressive in free agency in any of the years they were good. Because they knew they had a team that could win. So they weren't that aggressive.
Some players, though.
Yeah, true, but they weren't, like, super aggressive about it. They were kind of just like, hey, you want to come here? Yeah, that's cool. If you don't, we can still win.
I don't know. It's hard.
That's how I saw it, at least.
It's hard to be super aggressive in basketball because you only can offer so much money. You can't go above and beyond another team. Like, you can't say, like, we really want you. We're going to offer you the most money. The only team that can do that is the team that you're presently on. Mm-hmm. So everybody can offer you the same max money. If a team has a max contract,
also... Well, the thing is, you could also go like, "Hey, if you stay with us, we can also talk about getting you a max, the super max if you stay here long enough, and we won't give it to anybody else that's here already." You can also
right.
maneuver
That's
that
what I'm
way.
saying. In the NBA, you only can get more money from your original team. Right.
Well, I'm saying like if you come here and you stay here, we can give you that super max. Like that could be also the adding on the cake. Like you stay here. In the next 5-6 years, you can be one of the highest paid players in the league. Mm-hmm. Like there's incentives going to teams.
So for the Knicks. It sounds like they want Durant. I get it. It makes sense. They're looking at a max deal. I just don't know if they are a big free agent destination. I know the city is a draw, but, man, I think a lot of damage has been done to that franchise over the last 20, 30 years in terms of, like, I think people look at the Knicks and say, man, they're a joke. Like, I'd love to live in New York, but I really don't want to put up with all that losing, all that roster. I mean, they seem to make poor basketball decisions. Who's the biggest free agent they've signed in the last 20, 30 years? Is it Amari?
Probably.
They signed Allen Houston back in the day. I think they signed Larry Johnson, Grandmama, remember him?
Good
He was a big name.
Wasn't Olo Candy on the Knicks at one point?
I don't know.
Probably, because he was the number one overall pick at one point.
I'm just trying to think, like, who's the biggest name that they've signed in the last 20, 25, 30 years? I would say it's Amari Stoudemire off the top of my head because they got Carmelo in a trade. Was Latrell
Sprewell a trade?
I think Sprewell was a trade, and that was post-choking out the coach, right?
Well, yeah, that was the 90s, so this was like, he was 2004, 5.
Yeah, this is post.
No, he was in the year 2000, so yeah, that was post.
He was post PJ Carlissimo.
He was.
Choking.
I'm sorry. He was. Olakani was not a Knick. I thought he was. I was wrong. I'll look up. I'll look up the Latrell Sprewell because that one actually. Yeah. Because he was a.
Carmelo
big name.
Was a trade, and we know Amari Amari opted out in Phoenix and then signed with the New York Knicks.
Yeah, and all due respect, Latrell Sprewell was a big.
He was a big player, but he wasn't. I wouldn't say he was a star.
Well, we're looking at like.
I would say Stoudemire was a bigger star than Sprewell, right?
Yes, but I'm just saying, like, if we're looking at players that were high touted into that,
isn't that crazy though? If let's say that Stoudemire and Sprewell, let's just say Sprewell,
he was traded to the Knicks.
Yeah, okay, so it doesn't even matter.
This was during like the NBA lockout and all, and so this was after the incident.
If Stoudemire and Allen Houston are their two biggest free agent signings in the last 30 years, is New York really that team that's a free agent destination? Why aren't other players clamoring to go there?
Like I said, I think it's like the front office and just this team's ineptitude when it comes to just being successful in the last 20 years. There's something up there that's wrong. I can't explain it.
Yeah. It's just weird to me. Like everybody just says, "Oh yeah, New York, everybody wants to go there." But like no one has gone there. I mean, why? Like, haven't they gone there? I know that this team has been strapped with financial problems for many years. I know a lot of times they were over the cap. They made a lot of stupid decisions. They put themselves in salary cap hell, and they weren't a good basketball team, which is the absolute worst place you can ever be in. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I just think that people, they just say this, like, oh, yeah, everybody wants to go to New York. Do you see a guy like Kevin Durant going and playing for the Knicks?
No. And the last time they actually won a championship was 1973.
Oh yeah, it's been. So, they've been close a couple times in the
2000
90s.
NBA Finals was like the closest I've seen it.
Yes, they were close in the 90s, and it was 2000. Yes, but other than that, man, like they really have been a joke for majority of my life, and I'm a little bit older than you, of course, but even your entire life, you've never seen the Knicks do well, like except for that 1 year.
It just doesn't seem like one of those things in where
If
they were meant for something.
so, you don't see them. You don't think they'll be able to land like a Kawhi or a Durant?
Kawhi is a maybe, honestly, if I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Who knows what Kawhi wants to do, to be honest.
He's a quiet guy as well, like when it comes to the media and stuff, so it's pretty unknown what his thoughts are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big question mark, honestly. It's
Porzingis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Porzingis being there, yes, I know he's not playing at the moment, but
kind of hates it there, and too. He said that in the past.
Do you think that him being there, though, is a draw or not, or a detriment to attracting someone?
A detriment? I wouldn't say a detriment. I would say more of what would you say? Was a hassle a better word?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think there's just so much problems with this.
He tore his ACL 10 months ago.
You don't want to throw him back into the fire right away, because if he does, he's going to get the ball a lot, and that might put his knee at risk of even more deadliness, of more chance of serious injury.
So Knicks president Steve Mills, he was in June. He was on the radio talking about Porzingis and his possible return. And he said, 9 months from the surgery date. That was in February, so it would be about now that he returns. But I don't know. I don't know when he's coming back. But it is interesting because he's a big man. ACL injury, that's a big deal, especially for somebody as abnormally sized as him. Let's be honest. When you suffer injuries, especially your legs and your feet, for these big men,
7 feet. Oh yeah,
they're like worse than if
look
like
at Yao
a
Ming.
6 footer or something like that.
Yeah, look at Yao Ming. His career ended because of those kind of injuries.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, his career was really derailed by just a foot injury. I mean, just something that couldn't go away. And yeah, so it's been 10 months since Porzingis has played. So we'll see what happens for that, but. I don't know. I don't know if the Knicks, who they'll get. I mean, I know that players will always want to play there, but I think that it's mostly like the mediocre players that want to play there instead of like the top end talent, like the LeBrons or the Durants or the Kawhis. If they can't get those players, then it's not a free agent destination, right? Like that's the thing. If you can't get the
have
top
a friend
10 players in the league, then you're just another team. You're just another franchise.
Like when you see like the Devin Booker on the Suns, I want to bring the Suns to a super team. No one's going to Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
You hear what he said? Remember when he said that? It's just like no one's going to Phoenix. You got to be. If LeBron's in Phoenix, then guys will go to Phoenix. It's just one of those situations where you got to have luck in the draft to get a superstar. Then you can build a super team around that person.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Absolutely. Anyways, we got to talk about the holidays here. And during the holidays, it's a pretty stressful time. I mean, I know shopping can get pretty crazy. The lines, parking. There's a lot of driving involved. You got to go from store to store looking for that right gift for the loved ones. But when I'm in the car, something that really calms me down, something where I like to get my mind right, is listening to audiobooks. Audiobooks inspire me, motivate me, and it just makes me in a more calm and better mindset as I enter those shopping malls. There's no better place to listen than Audible. Get your first audiobook free along with 2 selected Audible original titles and exclusive fitness programs when you start a 30-day trial. So take the time to listen on Audible. Just visit audible.com/GSMC book or text GSMC book to 500-500 to get started. Right now, for a limited time, you can get 3 months of Audible for just $6.95 a month. That's more than half off the regular price. Go to audible.com/GSMC book or text GSMC book to 500-500 to get started today.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Brought to you by Washington.
Welcome back, everyone, to the GSMC basketball podcast. We are talking about how the Knicks situation was going and why isn't that a destination for free agents. Now we're moving on to other things in the NBA, like games and such and stuff, because that's what basketball's all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got to talk about first about the Dwayne Wade versus LeBron James matchup that happened in Miami and Los Angeles, as it was advertised as the final time these two would face each other, as Dwayne Wade said he's retiring after the end of this season, after a long years in the NBA since 2003. So he's been here for a 15-year career is about to end. So it's a very emotional moment, and facing one of his dear friends. You could say dear friends, right? That's his dear friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And in that effort, he came off the bench, had a good game, but it wasn't enough as Los Angeles Lakers beat the Miami Heat 108-105, and it was in the Staples Center, and it was an emotional hug at the end of the game. Like we were talking about what they were talking about before, how they thought this was going to be here or in the Garden. We already talked about that. But Dwayne Wade had a double-double coming off the bench, and LeBron James had a double-double starting. So they both had pretty good games in their final matchup against each other. And, don't forget these two also played with each other, not only in Miami, but also in Cleveland. Obviously, the Cleveland one wasn't as successful as the Miami one due to Dwayne Wade being on his last legs in that era. And so these two have long history together, and I guess that chapter is officially written and ended. So what do you think about these two, and do you think what do you think of these two relationship over the years?
I think these are two athletes that individually have really set the bar for the younger generations. I think LeBron and Dwayne Wade kind of changed how we view NBA players. I think they took the game more seriously. I think they took care of themselves better. They trained better. They ate the right things, and I think that has shown with how long they've been able to play.
They had their Wheaties.
It shows with how long they've been able to sustain success. Now, I know LeBron is still going. Wade is a little bit, older. But it still shows two of the greatest players of this generation, maybe the two best players of this generation. And it's a testament to what they've been able to do. Obviously, winning championships and things like that. Wade is still a good player off the bench. I know he's not nearly the same player as he once was, but man, he's really carved out a nice career. He's been effective for the Heat this year off the bench too. I just wish the Heat were a little bit better. I wish they were in the playoffs. They're close. Right now they're 9th in the East, behind Orlando by one win. They have the same number of losses, so they're a game behind. But I would like the Heat to make the playoffs and see Wade at least be a contributor off the bench in a playoff series. What about you?
Yeah. Well, the thing was, I would agree with you. It would be cool him ending with a championship. If he didn't already win championships before, if he was going without championships, then I would agree. Saying, maybe he deserves one last run in the playoffs. But he's already had those championships, so I think this is just a goodbye tour. I think it's like what Kobe did. It's like they know they're not going to make it very far, but it's going to be a goodbye. You know what I mean? It's just one of those. That's how it's going to work.
Yeah, and as for the Lakers, I mean, they've won again. This team is on a roll right now. They've done very well. They started off a little slow, but they're 7-3 in their last 10. They've really turned it up. They're sitting at 17-10. They're in 5th right now. If the playoffs started today, they'd be right behind their in-town rivals, the Los Angeles Clippers. I should say in-arena rivals since they play in the same spot. But the Lakers are actually pretty close to the top of the conference. Only, one game behind OKC, and they're right behind the Warriors as well. Mm-hmm. Denver's ahead as well. The Lakers, though, lately we've heard some rumors about them being interested possibly in Trevor Ariza, the small forward from the Phoenix Suns, who their season hasn't gone as planned.
Well, I think this was one of those years in where you got to look at like, oh, this is a future good team, but not right now.
The Suns are already 14.5 games out of first. That's
quick. That escalated quickly.
That is something. Something not good. Anyways, what do you think about Ariza possibly joining the Lakers? We hear that a name that might be traded from the Lakers would be Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. What do you think about the addition of Ariza and the subtraction of Caldwell-Pope for LA?
Pope has been kind of a disappointment, would you say, in his run with the Lakers? And other teams would want him. I think he's still a capable player. He's like you said, a deep threat in the 3-line, and they could probably trade him for something good. I think it's time for them to move on from him. I think it's now time to build around LeBron and get what he wants. And if they have to trade Pope for a guy he wants, then go for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of regardless of where LeBron is, they're gonna succumb to his will.
I just wonder how Ariza fits with this team. He's a good player. He really is. But I don't know if he's a good player for the Lakers. I mean, They have a defensive-minded 3. His name is Lance Stevenson. Even if you think Ariza's better, I just wonder how the minutes will go around there. Because right now, the Lakers kind of are devoid of three-point shooting, and Caldwell-Pope might be their best three-point shooter, him or Josh Hart. And if they really only have 2 good three-point shooters, or at least average to above average, and that's those 2. If they get rid of one and add Ariza, I know he can hit those shots, but the fit seems weird. I'm envisioning a lineup of McGee or Chandler at center, and then you got Kuzma at the 4, and then Ingram, LeBron, and Alonzo. I don't see where Ariza fits in, where he provides value over a guy really like Stevenson. Even if he's a little bit better, I don't think they'd not play Stevenson. So you have Stevenson, Ariza, Rondo off the bench. I just feel like that's a weird lineup. Like, I don't know. I know Ariza's a good player, is a good veteran, but man, that just seems like that lineup off the bench wouldn't really get it done. There's not enough shooting there, in my opinion.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Caldwell-Pope can shoot. Like, yeah, he played 24 minutes last night. He was 4 of 11, 3 of 7 from downtown. Like, he provides that kind of scoring. He's a scorer off the bench. Like, he is the scorer for them off the bench. So,
yeah,
if you make Ariza be the scorer off the bench, I don't know if that's the best idea. I don't know. It's interesting. Anyways, we'll see what happens. Let's take a look around the NBA, though. We had some games happen last night. We'll talk about the Bulls in more detail next segment, but they lose to the Kings. They were up by 12 in this game at halftime. They lose, though, by almost 20 points, 108-89. Bulls only scored 33 in the second half. So what was looking very promising in the first half just derailed big time. And let's go to out west where the Warriors played the T-Wolves last night, 116-108. Curry dropped 38. He also had some comments that we'll talk about in segment 4 about conspiracies that we'll get into. But one thing is for sure, it's not a conspiracy. The Warriors are good. They win again. They're 19-9. So 38 again for the Warriors. What do you think about the Timberwolves, though? I thought they kept this game pretty close.
Yeah, they did. But again, the Warriors are the Warriors. It's still almost like a foregone conclusion that they're going to make it to the finals, even though how other teams are doing. I'm grown numb to the fact that they're good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. They're about to get better.
Yeah, I'm numb to the fact that, they're going to get DeMarcus Cousins soon. So that's just not even fair.
Yeah, they're about to get better. Draymond played last night for the first time. They're going to get DeMarcus Cousins, it looks like, by the end of the month, maybe the beginning of January, but he's coming back.
They only had 4 guys come off their bench.
Mm-hmm.
And that's insane.
Yep. Clippers win in overtime against the Suns. Clippers just continue to win. It wasn't the prettiest game. 123-119, though. They do get the W. Tobias Harris dropped 33 in the win. Let's see. Thunder beat the Jazz 122-113. Thunder are just back on track, man. They had that a little bit of a tough start when Westbrook was injured, but 17-8.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Utah 13-15. The struggles continue for them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the fact of the matter is the Warriors are just a team that they have so much talent around them. They could be so bad, but yet they're still good. You know what I mean? Their off days are still great days.
I mean, their off days are still very good. Yes.
Yeah, it's just that's the way it is. It's now the NBA featuring the Golden State Warriors.
A guy who did not have an off game last night was Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic. 27 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. He only took 14 shots, and he contributed 27. This guy is so underrated. He might be the biggest reason of the Nuggets' success this year. What a player.
You know why he's underrated, and it's a shame?
Why is that?
He's in Denver, not a big market.
He's behind the mountains.
Yeah. Clever.
Anyways, Memphis, though, they've had a good start to their season. They dropped to 15-11, but hey, they lost to one of the best teams in the league, so can't really get too upset over that. Mavericks, though.
I hope for the best when it comes to the Nuggets. Wouldn't it be great just to see them get to the finals, just upset everybody? I mean,
that would be great, yeah. They're a team, basically a team. Like, they don't really... Jokic, yeah, he probably is their star, but he's not a star. Like, he's not a household name. Like, it would be nice to see a new team like that. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Dallas, 101. Orlando, 76. What happened with the Magic? How do you score 76 points in an NBA game in 2018? I have no idea. I really don't.
You go on to you play for the Orlando Magic.
You shoot 36% and 28% from three. Yeah, not.
This team is just, they don't have magic.
Luka Doncic had a rare poor shooting game.
Don't no-sell my joke.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, I said they don't have any magic.
I get it.
Because their team name is maybe they should hire Magic Johnson as their You know what? I really wish Magic Johnson played for the Orlando Magic just once. Just one season. You know what I mean? One season with the Orlando Magic would have been awesome.
Would they have put Magic on the back of his jersey and on the front? Ooh.
No, they would just put Johnson.
Oh.
Because he
That's
doesn't.
no fun.
Does he put Magic on his... No, he didn't never put back on the jersey.
Yeah, but he should. It'd be fun.
So should have Larry Bird played for the Pelicans if they were a team?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Were there other or the Hawks? I forgot about the Hawks.
Were a team, but not the Pelicans. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't think of them in time.
So Luka Doncic had a rare poor shooting night last night. 7 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. But again, Dallas 101-76. Orlando didn't show up, so they didn't need him to ball out like he has been. How about the Bucks though, beating the Cleveland Cavaliers 108-92. The bad season for Cleveland continues. 6-21, 18-8 for Milwaukee. Bledsoe had a nice 20-point, 12-board game, but man, the Bucks look like a really good team, and they're heading, I think, to the Eastern Conference Finals if they keep it up. But a team that we thought could contend is starting to get the tires rolling. That's the Boston Celtics. 113-100 last night. 6 straight wins for Boston. They're 16-10. They're now coming for the top 2 teams in the East. Do you think that we're starting to see Boston actually find their potential?
Yes, I mean, how well coached they are and how much talent is on that team. It was only a matter of time before they found a rhythm.
Yeah, we still don't know if Hayward will be back.
He had some good games left here and there.
He didn't play yesterday, but Morris had 31 points. Tatum 21-6 again.
Tatum a great player, absolutely.
Yeah. And the Celtics, a very Celtics win.
The rookies of last season are playing extremely well this season. Mm-hmm. De'Aaron Fox, again, one of them who's playing a great, had 25-point game against the Bulls. Mm-hmm. And just everyone seems to be clicking when it comes to the draft last year.
Donovan Mitchell. Well,
I guess with Josh Jackson, would you put Jackson up there?
Josh Jackson's been real bad, real bad.
I put him as an asterisk, but everyone else in that 1 through 10, I guess.
Markkanen looked good, especially last night. He looks like he's a good player. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dennis Smith Jr., good player. It was for New York. I don't know. Jury's still out on him.
Really showed how stacked that draft class was, though.
Absolutely. Pacers 109-101. The Pacers, man, they've been balling right now. They're 17-10. That team is just picking it up.
I just wish I knew what a pacer was.
Mm-hmm. I don't. Pacemaker.
Pretty sure that's not it.
The Wizards lose, though.
What do you want to name a team? I know. How about after a thing that puts your heart back when it stops beating?
The Wizards are 11-16. The trade rumors continue to swirl. Pistons, they drop a game to the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers are doing pretty well. I know Embiid had some comments about not knowing what his role is. He sounds like maybe he's not the happiest since Jimmy Butler has joined the team, but hey, they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. It's hard to be upset when you're winning, and right now they are winning. So, man, the Sixers, the Eastern Conference is starting to shape up like we thought. Now that the Celtics are playing really well, they're looking like they're a top 4 team. Maybe the Pacers will sneak into that top 4. It's yet to be determined, but have we covered all the games from last night? Because I think we have.
Well, the games that mattered, definitely.
Yeah, we talked about every single one. I think the most impressive win last night would probably be, maybe the Celtics win just based on
statement.
Yeah, 113-100. I mean, and they won 6 straight. Like, I'll give them that. I think
Makes sense.
They've had a tough season. This is their moment right now. So
this is their moment. This is their time. The time is now. You can't see me. My time is now. And speaking of my time is now, it is my time to go read. But wait, I can't read. What can I do? Oh, I know. I can go to Audible. Audible right now, for a limited time, you can get 3 months of it for just $6.95 a month. That's more than half off the regular price. Give yourself the gift of listening. While you're at it, think about giving the gift of Audible to someone on your list. For more, go to audible.com/GSMC book or text GSMC book to 500-500. That's 500-500. And with this deal, using the code GSMC book, you can get your first audiobook for free along with 2 selected Audible original titles and an exclusive fitness programs when you start a 30-day trial. So take the time to listen on Audible. Just visit audible.com/GSMC book or once again, text the code GSMC book to 500-500. That's GSMC book to 500-500.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Brought to you by Washington.
Welcome back, everyone, to the GSMC Basketball Podcast. We finished talking about the games that have happened yesterday. Now we're moving on to other news and other little NBA stuff you wanted to talk about. You had something in mind.
You know, sometimes seasons don't go the way that you envision, right? Like you're excited about your team. You think, man, we have a really good chance at winning a championship, making the playoffs, having a good winning season. But sometimes, Jeff, those plans go awry, and those plans get destroyed early on in the season. What was once promising just a couple months later is now all but lost. Sometimes there is hope, but sometimes I think it's time just to turn the page. And that's how I feel about a certain team in the NBA, a team that had very high hopes. And even though we're only, 25, 26 games into the NBA season, I think the writing is on the wall for this team. I think that the show is over. I think they need to regroup and prepare for next season because I am writing them off. I am officially writing them off from playoffs this year, from being a contender. Definitely, this team will not win. Do you know what team I am talking about?
I honestly do not know. Please enlighten me.
The team that I'm talking about that I am officially eliminating, I don't think they'll turn this around, is the Houston Rockets.
Whoa. That's a bold move there, sir.
First off, before I dive into it, do you think that this is premature? Do you think I'm writing them off too early?
A tad. I'm going to say a tad.
The Houston Rockets are 11-14.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
No, this is great. This is great. The Houston Rockets are 11-14.
Mm-hmm.
They're 5-5 at home. They're 6-9 on the road. They're 5-11 in the Western Conference. So they are horrible inside the conference, which means, what does that mean? They play most of their games in the West. So far, we've seen them play 16 games amongst Western Conference teams. They've won 5. They're averaging 108 points a game. Not bad. But they are giving up 109. They've lost 3 straight. We have now seen them win 3 of their last 10 basketball games. Tell me why I should have any faith that this Rockets team will turn it around, Jeff. Tell me why.
It's just the talent, man. It's just the talent they got.
You talk about talent, so you mean Harden and Paul?
Yes. And, this team just has the ability to be good. And you're right. They are struggling right now. And if they keep doing it like this for the next, month, then I will write them off with you. But I'm going to give them another month.
Okay. Right now, they're only 3 games out of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So you're right. If they have a good month, if they have a good few weeks, they could turn this around. However.
Yes.
They play their next few games here. Portland, Lakers, Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm.
If they lose all 3 of those games, I don't see how they come back from that. I'll be completely honest with you. Yes, we're not halfway through the season yet. Weird things have happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I have no reason to believe in this Rockets team. I don't. And a big reason is who we talked about earlier, Trevor Ariza, Ryan Anderson, Luke Mbamute. Those were 3 good players for their team, especially Mbamute and Ariza. They were solid wing defenders. They're not on the team this year. The Rockets inconceivably went a different route and signed Carmelo Anthony, which everybody knew was a bad idea, except for their general manager, I guess.
I think they just wanted that idea of a super team. And Carmelo Anthony's a name, and they weren't. That's my only idea.
Chris Paul's not getting any younger. And to think that he'll stay healthy all season is an exercise I wish to not
He already has not.
That is an exercise I wish to not partake in because Chris Paul will miss probably 20 to 30 more basketball games. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
He's just injured all the time. Like, he's older.
Chris Paul, my ankle.
Eric Gordon, another guy. He's their best bench player. He's another guy that I can see missing time. He's had an injury-riddled career.
A lot of these guys are, going on 10-plus years.
Nene is one of their best players off the bench.
I really wish he had more than one name. I wish he had
it's Nene Hilario, but...
I mean, can you pronounce that? Well, when you play the 2K games, it just says Nene.
Yeah, because when you're Brazilian, when you're Portuguese, you only go by one name. Pretty much. You don't really have another... yes, you have a legal name, but it's mostly nicknames that are on your shirt. So, he's Nene. Capella...
Does he do the Nene?
I don't know. You didn't get him, man.
Yeah,
Come on. You got to have more situational awareness.
Nope.
You didn't get him.
Never. I will never have situational awareness. My therapist tries.
I will never be socially acceptable.
My therapist has said it myself. I will never be socially adequate. My parents will always not love me. I'm just kidding about that part. But
guys like Clint Capella for the Rockets, I think they're good players on really good teams. But when they're on mediocre teams or bad teams, you're wanting more from that position for that contract. Clint Capella, last night 12-13, or 2 nights ago I should say, 12-13, not bad, but he's not going to be a guy that's going to carry a team with Harden if Paul isn't around.
And Harden used to be a triple-double monster, and only he has not even that much this season. He doesn't. I don't think he even have a handful.
He's averaging 38 and 5 though. That's pretty good. It's just hard.
But
it's
5. That's kind of where the problem lies, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but even with his triple doubles, he's not going to average like a triple double. That would be just.
When he won the MVP, didn't he at least was close to it?
When he won the MVP, that was in 2000
last year.
35 and 9. No, he won the MVP 2 years ago, right?
Who won it last year, then?
Was it Westbrook?
No, Westbrook won it 2 years ago. Harden won it last year.
Well, Harden's numbers were better in 16-17. They were 29, 8, and 11.
Yeah.
And last year they were 35 and 8. But
I think it was more the fact that he had some career high, huge amount of points in those last season too, which put him over the top. And Westbrook just had.
But he's still averaging the same amount of. He's still averaging the same stats as last year, literally the same, like across the board. So, I don't know.
Well,
I think
he's like
fine.
the only player on that team right now that's like can do stuff. Like he's an impact player. Like
Yeah,
the other
he's
guys
still
aren't.
Harden. He's still Harden. It's not him. It's just you don't in the NBA. You really don't understand how important it is to have wing defenders that do the dirty work, the unsung heroes, until you don't have them.
Well, look at their coach. He's not a defensive coach in the long run. He goes he thinks about half defense, double the offense. That's his.
He's an offensive coach, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you know what? We can't say he doesn't care about defense because
when
the Rockets were winning, he definitely talked about their defense, and it was a thing. But they played fast. They wanted teams to play a high scoring game, but they were good defensively for what they were.
I'm just saying he was more of an offensive guy than a defensive guy, and it shows on the court. I mean, look at Harden's effort on the court.
Mm-hmm.
Like his defensive effort is still pretty low. I mean, it's weak, I would even say.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not how you're supposed to play in the NBA. Like, have you seen like his Shaq in a full moments? Those are bad. Mm-hmm. Where sometimes he just stops playing, he just stands there and just let the guy go. And honestly, it was going to come to bite him eventually, and I think it already has. Like it was bound to happen, and I think it's one of these things where you lead by example, and if you don't play defense, the other guys aren't really going to play it either, and it shows on the court.
Yeah, but it's all about their acquisitions for me. They got rid of their two best defensive players, and they're paying the price. They're really paying the price because let's be honest. If you look at their stats, if they just average 3 or 4 points less given up each game, they would be a winning team right now. They would actually be a winning team right now, and they don't have. It's the small details that matter because in the Western Conference, Jeff. Everybody's good. Literally, except for the Suns, every team is good.
Yeah.
The Rockets are the second worst team in the West right now. And we're talking about a team that many predicted to go to the finals this year or even make it close, like get to at least the divisional round, right? Like,
yeah, I agree with you. And also the fact of the matter is when you are struggling on the defensive side, you're not going to get many offensive opportunities. And it clearly shows when the Rockets play.
Yeah, you would expect... We all expected at least like second round of the playoffs. Maybe they get upset then, but they'd be a top 4 team,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
There's just a lot of potential there.
I'm writing them off. I'm writing them off.
Yeah.
You can't.
And they
say that'll make me change my mind.
They got rid of their defensive guys to get the name Carmelo Anthony, to get this super team vibe going, to get this hype going.
You know what's
that
funny?
did not turn out well. Do you agree with that though?
Yeah, but now I know why they went all in for Jimmy Butler because this ship is sinking, and they were like, "Hey, if we get Jimmy
how many
Butler,
first round draft picks was
4.
it? 4. How do you turn that down, Minnesota? Come on. I'm sorry,
but it makes sense now. It makes sense because they saw the ship slowly sinking like the Titanic, and it's like,
can you imagine Minnesota took that and then they still were sinking? They would have 2 potential top 5 picks.
I remember they can't be in successive seasons, so it would have been every other year they would have had a top pick from Houston. So in 7 years,
I don't like that rule though. You give up first round picks, you're giving up first round picks. That's how I see it.
I think they do it though because it makes you think twice. Because it's easier to project your team 2 to 3 years from now
instead
rather than 7 years from now.
I see what you're saying.
Because
so it's less chance of tanking. Maybe they're thinking of that tanking.
Yeah, because I think that the NBA doesn't want to see a team give up 4 consecutive first round picks. God.
Well, we didn't expect a team to actually offer it.
Plus, if that team doesn't have any first-round picks for 4 years in a row, and then the team is really bad, and then they're like trying to sell the team, the franchise will lose a lot of value. It's
really disappointing, honestly, in the fact that like you're going to give up that many draft picks, you're giving up your future for this 1 year of Jimmy. But I'm sorry, it's a bad acquisition. In Minnesota is honestly that is the worst decision you've ever made not taking that though.
Anyways, we should take a break.
Yes, we should. When we come back, we will talk about anything else left in the NBA that we need to discuss.
Bulls a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about the what is left of the Bulls at least, and we'll get right on that when we return.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines. They got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back, everyone, to the final segment of the day for the GSMC Basketball Podcast. Anyways, let's get right on it. We want to talk about the Bulls and their
drama.
Mutiny, I was going to say. But yeah, drama works too.
You know, they came out really good yesterday. They put it on the Kings in that first half. They were up by 12 at halftime, only to just stink up the joint in the second half. They only scored 33 points. They lost by 19. That's quite a difference from the first half. Yeah, we heard about them, their new coach, Boylan, and the players maybe not seeing eye to eye, huh?
Well, the practices seem to be pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Which, in the NBA, you shouldn't overwork your guys especially when you're traveling that much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And they're adults. Like, they know how to play the game of basketball. You're not going to... It's not one of those things in high school or middle school where you're working these kids to get their cardio up. Their cardio should already be up. They're in the NBA.
I'm going to be very interested in watching the Bulls in the next 4 or 5 games and see how they react because they're a bad team. But if this team doesn't respond well, if they have a lot of poor showing, a lot of poor effort out there, I think that this could be really bad. Like I think that this has a potential to blow up worse than it is right now. And yeah, for a storied franchise like Chicago, I think that would be sad. I want to talk to you about, though, speaking of bad teams, Tristan Thompson of the Cleveland Cavaliers, he's out a month due to injury. Who's going to be a worse team in a month from now, the Bulls or the Cavaliers?
I'm going to go Bulls.
I'm going to go Cavs.
How about the Cavaliers? The Cavals.
How many wins do they have combined right now? Like 11 or 12? They have to have like 11 or 12.
It's pretty low.
Yeah. So let me take a look.
I'm pretty sure one of them has only 4 wins.
Well, let's see. The Bulls are 6. No, they both have 12. They both are combined 12. 6 and 21, 6 and 22.
12 and 43.
I will say Cleveland will have a worse record in a month from now. You'll say Chicago.
It's going to be close. Let's be honest. It's going to be close.
I wonder how many, and what will the win totals be like?
Wait. We got to think about the Hawks also. They're 6 and 20 themselves.
Oh, I know. But I think the Hawks are they'll probably win a couple more. You never know. I mean, right now, Phoenix is the worst team.
Okay, let me ask you this. Between the Bulls, Cavs, and the Suns, who's got the worst record?
I still say the Cavs.
Really? You think the Suns are going to add a couple more wins to their total?
Yeah, because they have players like Booker when he's healthy. They have better players. Like the Bulls, And the Cavs are just bad basketball teams, man. Like the Suns, I think we can both agree the Suns should win more games than what their record says, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think they should be at 8 or 9 wins, but they play a tough schedule. They play in the West.
Yeah, it is a little skeptical, to be honest. And like if the Suns played the Cavs, just for the worst team in the NBA, or the Bulls, I guess, in a 3-way basketball matchup, like I would say the Suns just have the harder schedule in the West. I think we both agree on that. And the fact of the matter is the Bulls are just, there's no effort. There's a lack of motivation there.
They came out strong yesterday, though. I was surprised, actually.
I think it was more they're angry than they wanted to win.
Maybe they were overworked in practice. That's why they didn't have the legs for the second half. What do you think about that?
I can totally see that.
What do you think about Steph Curry saying that the moon landing was not real?
The NASA had a thing to say about that. They tweeted at him or messaged him saying, hey, come to the lunar museum, or the lunar,
whatever it is,
lunar land museum. Yeah, like I'm sorry, how can you say that? Like
even if someone doesn't think that the original moon landing was real, do people really think we haven't been to the moon? Like every single time since then has been fake. Like every time.
Yeah,
haven't we been to the moon like 6 or 7 times? Like we've been to the moon before. Like it's been more than once. So whatever. It's what's up with NBA players and these conspiracy theories?
I mean, we can look at Kyrie Irving with flat Earth, which that one bothers me more than the moon landing. I kind of get people saying about the moon landing being fake
but have
at
you
first.
researched flat Earth?
Nothing can prove me otherwise that there's a flat Earth. Like there is, the Earth is round, people.
How come when I'm in the airplane everything looks flat? Yeah, Are
you a flat earther?
I'm just saying you got to be able to debunk this flat Earth theory, right?
How about pictures from outer space saying it's round?
Oh, you mean those doctored photos from NASA? Yeah.
Okay, where's the end of the Earth then? Where's the edge?
Somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, probably.
Let's go there. Let's go on a trip. Me, you, and your wife. We all
can't get
take on
there.
a cruise.
Military are on the border.
Sure.
Military won't let you get that far when you get to the edge. Anyways, anything else you'd like to add? Oh yeah, Gonzaga lost. They lost to Tennessee. They're now number 4. They moved from number 1 to number 4. Tennessee's up in the number 3 spot. Are you surprised at that?
Not really.
Yeah. Well, Duke should be number 1 in no time at all, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're done.
Yes, we are done. Thank you so much for joining us.
Please check out our other podcasts if you haven't. GSMC Podcast Network. We do sports, basketball, football, fantasy football, soccer, and baseball. So check those out if you haven't. Again, go to Audible for your audiobook needs. Again, GSMC Book is the code. It's audible.com/GSMC Book, or you can text GSMC Book to 500-500, and you'll get that great offer. All right. Thank you for your time today. You have a wonderful day. We'll see you on Thursday.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Basketball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.